Want to know the most powerful thing you can do in any relationship? It's not about winning arguments, showering someone with gifts, or saying the right words at the right time. The game changer is when you show them that you don't actually need them. When you pull back and stop relying on someone, it completely shifts the dynamic. Suddenly, they start questioning their worth, their influence over you, and everything they thought they knew about the relationship. This simple act of emotional independence is a power move that can leave a lasting impact. In this video, I'm going to dive deep into why not needing someone is one of the most effective ways to break the ego, shift the balance of power, and completely transform how they see you. Stick around, because once you understand this concept, you'll see relationships in a whole new light. 1. Loss of control. When you pull away and show her that you don't need her, it sends shockwaves through the entire dynamic. For many, the feeling of control comes from knowing they can manipulate your emotions and reactions. If she's used to you dropping everything for her, always being available and eager to please, that gives her a sense of power. But the moment you step back, that grip she has over you begins to loosen, and she feels it. At first, she might brush it off. He'll come around, she tells herself, but as the days go by, the reality begins to sink in. You're not rushing back, you're not chasing after her, and you're not putting her at the center of your world anymore. That's when the unsettling thoughts start to creep in. Why isn't he chasing me? Did I miss something? Was I really as important to him as I thought? The loss of control doesn't just mess with her ego, it shatters her sense of security. For someone accustomed to being the focus of attention, your sudden emotional distance creates a void that's hard to ignore. And here's the kicker, ego doesn't take well to rejection. As her control slips away, her mind begins to spiral. What went wrong? Why is she no longer in the driver's seat? This shift is powerful because it sends a clear message. You're no longer dependent on her approval, validation, or presence to feel complete. This challenges everything she thought she knew about relationships, because society often teaches men to pursue, to chase, and to prove their worth. But you've rewritten the rules. You're not proving anything. You're just living your life independently. The loss of control is a hard pill for her to swallow. It challenges her self-image, her sense of power, and makes her question everything. Over time, she'll start to reflect on her own actions and behaviors. Did she take you for granted? Did she push you too far? And in that reflection, the true shift happens. You've gone from being the one who might have been chasing to the one she now seeks, seeking answers, seeking control, and ultimately seeking you. 2. Questioning her value. When you pull back and show her that you don't need her, a powerful shift happens. She begins to question her own value. In relationships, many people define their worth based on the attention and validation they receive. If you've always been the one to reach out, make the plans, and shower her with compliments, she's gotten used to feeling needed and important. But when you step away, that sense of importance starts to crumble, and her confidence begins to waver. At first, she may try to put up a tough front. I don't need him anyway, she might convince herself, masking the bruises to her ego with fake strength. But as the days pass, the cracks in her facade grow wider. She starts asking herself deeper, more unsettling questions. Why did he walk away so easily? Was I not enough? Is there someone else who can give him what I couldn't? These questions don't fade. They echo in her mind, keeping you on her thoughts much longer than you realize. This stage is so powerful because it forces her to face her own insecurities head-on. Many people, whether they admit it or not, rely on external validation to feel good about themselves. If you've been the one giving her that validation, your absence creates a void that her ego struggles to fill. She might replay past moments, wondering if she said or did something wrong. Maybe she recalls how you went above and beyond to show her you cared, only to realize she didn't reciprocate. Or perhaps she remembers taking you for granted, assuming you'd always be there no matter what. This period of self-reflection is uncomfortable, but it's transformative. By stepping back, you've created the space for her to reconsider everything from her own actions to her understanding of the relationship. She's no longer just focused on you. Now, she's questioning her own worth and the choices she made. And what's incredible about this shift is that you don't have to say a word. Your silence, your absence, and your refusal to chase after her speak volumes. It shows her that you value yourself too much to settle for less than you deserve. This sends a message she can't ignore. It forces her to see you as someone who doesn't just need her, but chooses her. And that shift in perception is what makes her question her place in the relationship and ultimately her own value. 3. She tries to regain control. When you step away, it shifts the entire dynamic, leaving her with one powerful question: how can I regain control? She's no stranger to being the one in charge, the one who dictates the flow of things in the relationship. She's used to being the one who calls the shots, but when you pull back, the balance tips in your favor. Now she's scrambling, trying to figure out how to take back the control she once thought was hers. At first, she'll likely play it cool. She'll act like your absence doesn't faze her, maybe even flaunt her life on social media, showing how unbothered she is. But beneath that surface, there's a growing discomfort. She'll start thinking of ways to reel you back in, maybe with a casual text, a like on your posts, or even indirect attempts through mutual friends. Each action may seem subtle, but they're all part of a carefully calculated strategy to regain the upper hand. What's truly fascinating is that every move she makes is a silent admission that your absence has gotten to her. Even if she tries to play it off as casual, every attempt to reconnect shows that your decision to step back is affecting her more than she's letting on. The real power here is that you've flipped the script. No longer are you chasing or seeking validation. By walking away, you've demonstrated that you're perfectly fine without her, and that kind of confidence is magnetic. It makes her question her control, not just over you, but over her emotions as well. As she pushes harder to regain control, her emotional investment in you deepens, whether she's aware of it or not. And by sticking firm in your decision to step away, you're reinforcing a powerful message. Your value is not dependent on her approval or attention. With every attempt she makes to regain control, she inadvertently shows just how much power you now hold in the relationship. You've taken back the reins, and the more she tries to regain control, the more she's revealing how much of it she's lost. 4th, her ego faces its greatest challenge. Walking away is like throwing a curveball straight at her ego, an unanticipated challenge that it simply wasn't ready for. Why? Because it forces her to face something that everyone dreads: rejection. Even if you didn't outright say the words, your decision to step back is perceived as rejection by her ego. It shatters the illusion that she's irreplaceable and that reality strikes deep. Her ego feeds on validation. It thrives on knowing she's desired and sought after. But when you show her that you don't need her, it exposes a vulnerability that her ego is unprepared to handle. At first, she might try to convince herself it's a game on your part. He's just testing me, or he'll come crawling back soon enough, are the lies she'll tell herself to protect her bruised ego from the hard truth. But deep down, she knows something she can't ignore. Your decision wasn't a strategy, it was a declaration of self-respect. And that realization is a tough pill to swallow. This challenge to her ego doesn't just make her think, it forces her to feel emotions she's not used to: doubt, insecurity, and regret. These aren't the kind of feelings her ego is built to handle, which is why they only grow stronger with time. The longer you stay silent, the more her mind is consumed by the fact that you've slipped from her grasp. It's a mental tug-of-war. Part of her wants to push you out of her mind, while another part can't stop thinking about you and what she's lost. This internal battle isn't just about missing you, it's about the damage to her ego and her desperate need to reclaim her sense of self-worth. But here's the twist. By walking away, you've put yourself in a position she can't ignore. You've shown her that your respect for yourself is more important than any validation she could offer. This is a level of self-assurance that few people can genuinely embody. Her ego might fight it, but deep down, it knows it's met someone who values themselves in a way that's rare, and that's what makes the challenge to her ego so intense. 5. She starts wondering if she's lost you forever. The final stage is where the real power lies. As the days go by and your silence remains unbroken, she starts to wonder if she's lost you forever. This isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a fear that starts to take root and grows stronger each time you remain distant. She begins to reflect on all the moments you were there for her, the times you showed unwavering support and care. And now, with your absence, those memories hold a weight she didn't realize before. She starts to question herself. Did I take him for granted? Was I blind to what he brought to the relationship? Is it too late to fix this? These aren't just questions about you, they're reflections on her own actions and the consequences of them. The fear of losing you for good ignites a sense of urgency within her, making her realize your true value in a way she never did before. This isn't just about missing you, it's about understanding the depth of what she's lost and the impact of her own choices. As time passes, it becomes painfully clear. You're not replaceable. Her ego might have told her that she could easily find someone else, someone who would cater to her needs or shower her with attention. But the truth starts to hit her. What you brought to the table was rare. True emotional connection, consistency, and depth aren't things she can find just anywhere. Sure, she may meet other people, but those interactions will always fall short. They won't listen to her like you did, or understand her on the level you once did. The little things you did that she once took for granted now seem extraordinary. The laughter, the support, the stability. Suddenly, those things aren't just nice to have, they're irreplaceable. This realization isn't just humbling, it's a gut punch to her ego. For someone who might have believed that there was always someone else out there to fill the void, discovering that not all connections are equal is a harsh truth to face. This stage forces her to see you in a completely new light. You're no longer just someone she used to know. You're the one who got away. The more she reflects on what made you special, the more she realizes that walking away wasn't just a loss for you. It's a loss for her. This isn't about inflating your ego or trying to prove a point. It's about letting your actions speak for themselves. When you walk away, you're making a statement about your self-worth that she can't ignore. And the beauty of this is that she'll come to this realization on her own, and when she does, it'll be far more powerful than anything you could say or do. In the end, walking away isn't just an act. It's a declaration of your value and a lesson she won't soon forget. 6. She tries to win you back. Once the realization settles in that she might have truly lost you, a new dynamic begins to unfold. She'll start trying to win you back. This is where her ego faces its ultimate test, and her actions reveal just how deeply your absence has affected her. She might not admit it at first, but the urgency to restore the connection is undeniable. She may send messages, make subtle attempts to reconnect, or even ramp up the charm, all in an effort to reignite the spark she once took for granted. It's no longer about controlling the situation. It's about winning you over, proving that she still matters and that you're worth fighting for. These attempts to win you back aren't just about patching things up. They're driven by the fear of losing you forever. She's suddenly aware that you're no longer the one chasing her, and now the tables have turned. She's the one trying to capture your attention, trying to reclaim a piece of the emotional power she once held over you. Each gesture, each message is a reflection of the loss she feels and a desperate bid to reverse the reality she's facing. What's even more intriguing is that as she tries to win you back, she's forced to confront the vulnerability she's avoided all along. She realizes that regaining your trust and affection won't be as easy as it once seemed. No longer is she the one calling the shots. She's the one hoping you'll choose her. The more she puts herself out there, the more she risks rejection, and the more her ego is pushed to its limits. In this stage, her actions speak volumes. She's no longer in control of the situation, and her every move reveals just how much you've affected her. It's in these moments that the true power shift is fully realized. She's trying to win you back, but the ball is in your court. Your absence has created a space where she must work to prove her worth, and that's a position many never thought they'd find themselves in. Your detachment forces her to acknowledge something she can no longer deny. You've become the one she now desires, and that shift in roles is what makes this stage so significant. Conclusion. If this video struck a chord with you, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on more powerful insights like these. I'd love to hear your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.